Hi, and welcome to our Thursday Mindfulness Zen. I'm Sunim, and tonight I'd like to talk a bit about boredom during meditation. I'm bored. What can I do? So, when we begin meditation, I mean, from when we first start to meditate, things are always quite interesting because it's new. Then, after a while, after this honeymoon period where you feel that this meditation, the Zen is really working for you, you kind of hit a plateau where it seems that nothing more is happening, that you're not feeling any different, and you don't seem to be making progress. And then you start to feel a bit bored. One of the responses is that you start to feel a bit bored, like, what am I doing? I'd rather be doing something more interesting. And that's a very common experience to have for many people. When I was a new meditator, that also happened to me. I'd rather, why should I sit down and watch the wall and my breath when it's a great day outside? I can go out and do some fun stuff, maybe go to a movie or have some good food. Why should I, sit in this meditation center, just watching my breath? So boredom does come up, and it's like one of the three poisons that the Buddha talked about. Anger, desire, ignorance. Boredom is more like ignorance, because our mind likes to be stimulated by interesting things. I'm sure you experience it. Nowadays, when you go maybe to a doctor or a dentist or anywhere where you have to, a government office where you have to wait, if you look, including yourself, everybody is doing something with their phone. Nobody is just sitting there and waiting. And that's actually part of our human experience, that we want to keep our minds occupied. Our mind likes to be occupied, to be stimulated. But when you do something over and over again, the same thing over and over again, like meditation, watching your breath, it gets bored. And it thinks, there must be something nicer to do. So the interesting thing about boredom is that the reason we're bored is that we're not interested enough. We're not curious enough about our experience. Because if you notice, if you're really interested in something, whether it's a hobby, whether it's a movie, whether it's a discussion with friends, you don't feel bored. So the antidote to boredom is actually very simple. It's to pay closer attention to your meditation. That means say you're watching your breath, you're following your breath. Pay closer attention to that. Notice the differences in your breath. Notice how each breath may not be the same as the previous one. Notice how your mind is jumping around, and notice how you bring it back. So there are very good ways to kind of alleviate this boredom. And the other thing is also to accept that this feeling of boredom will pass. That boredom is just a feeling, a sensation. It's a mental it's a mental activity, it's a thought that goes through your head. I'm bored. And that, just like anything else, I'm angry, or I'm happy, I'm sad, that will go away if you allow it to. If you don't keep thinking, oh, I'm bored, what's the problem, and you start to analyze yourself. So if you let it pass, this feeling of boredom goes away. I have experienced it many times now during my meditation, that if this feeling of boredom comes, and when in the past I was doing like 3-month retreats twice a year, and I would be sitting for like 9-10 hours a day, and of course you're gonna get bored sometime. But the interesting thing is, when you're in that situation, you can't do anything else. You have to sit there. You can't jump up and go for an ice cream. You just have to sit there. And then what is very interesting is that you notice that this feeling of boredom goes away. It goes away. It doesn't stay forever. Just like all emotions and thinking, it just goes away. That's the law of impermanence. So all you have to do is just, even if you do nothing, and you are just patient and you just sit through it, it will go away. But of course, when we're alone practicing, it's much easier just to get up and maybe check your social media or whatever. So that's part of mental discipline. But if we realize that this feeling will go away, and if we pay closer attention to what's going on, we're going to be less likely to be bored, because suddenly it becomes very interesting, whatever is going on in your mind during meditation. So let's try that tonight if you get bored. I mean, we're not doing very long sits, but if this sensation or this thought of boredom comes up, then just try to look a bit closer and then see what happens with that. Or in future meditations, if you get bored, then just look a bit closer. What's going on? Okay? Okay, so let's begin. Find a comfortable, upright and alert posture for yourself. You can close your eyes or keep them slightly open. Now, take a few moments to settle into the sitting. Feel your breath. Feel your body breathing. And as we've said, if at any time things start to feel a little boring or you feel bored, see if you can bring yourself back to your breath and look a bit closer. Pay a little bit more attention to your breath, to the entirety of your meditation experience. Of course, whenever your mind drifts off, also come back to the sensation of breathing. So remember, it's not about thinking about how you feel about breathing, it's just directly feeling your breath, connecting with it directly. So let's try that. let's remember that boredom is an impermanent thing. It will pass. And that if we take a greater interest to pay more attention to what we're doing, we can use this as an antidote to boredom. And I think you'll find that this also can work in your everyday life. If you start to notice that you're feeling bored, see if you can take a closer interest in what you're doing or your surroundings. And as you notice more things, that may get you more interested and your boredom will go away. Because most of the time, we don't tend to notice the things around us. We kind of ignore them. But if we become more aware of what's going on around us, then life becomes much more interesting. And boredom doesn't have to come into it. When you're ready, start to open your eyes and bring your attention back to the room again. So, thank you very much for your practice. And seeing this is the holiday season, we're going to take a break for the next 2 weeks. And for those of you who celebrate, I wish you a very happy Christmas, happy Hanukkah, happy festivities, and also a great start to the new year. We'll look forward to seeing you back here at the same time on Thursday evenings, 8:30 p.m. Malaysian time in January 2024. Have a great end to the year and take care. Bye-bye.